Hi guys! Today we are kind of truly flipped, so we decided to
Yes.
kind of mess with you for a second. Make sure you have your workbook page. You don't have to have it upside down, but we're going to be using pages 17, 18, and 19 today. That should look a little better. Okay, so make sure on your workbook that you are writing in the learning goal. We are on learning target 1.2a. I can add and subtract fractions with uncommon denominators, and again, this is page 17. So we have been talking about equivalent fractions, we've been talking about comparing fractions. Today we are going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions. So the first question in your workbook shows 1/2 plus 1/3. So what we are going to try to do is talk about how to add them. So hopefully a red flag is popping up. You can't just add a half and a third and get 2/5.
Because they're not the same thing.
Because they're not the same sizes. So just like when we were comparing fractions, we had to break them up into, we had to find a common denominator to make them the same size. So that is what we're going to do here as well. So when we are doing our common denominators, we're going to list the multiples, if you remember, of 2 and the multiples of 3. So my multiples of 2, and I'm just going to kind of jot it here, 2, 4, 6, 8. My multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, and I'm going to stop there because I've already noticed 6 is the least common multiple. So if you look down at the next little section here, this is just showing you that they did the same thing. So my 1/2 needs to becomes 3/6. So how did I get from 2 to 6? What was my multiplier? So you should know 2 times 3 is 6, and if I've done that to the denominator, I have to do it to the numerator. And to get from 3 to 6, we multiply by 2. Same thing up here. So my common denominator, my common denominator is 6. So that's all we had to do for that. We just wanted to make sure that you were making that connection between how we found the common denominators for when we add. So that's the only one we're going to do on this page. So go ahead and flip to the next page, and Mrs. Van Dam is going to take you through question number 5.
Yes, and let's see
And
here.
I think this one's a pause and try it.
Okay, looking here, we're going to look at 7/10 plus 1/5, and we're going to do the same thing, just off to the side. Maybe I'll just do it right over here.
Hold on, pause and try it if you haven't yet.
Oh yeah, sorry. Am I going? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm going to list my multiples, 10, 20, 30. I'm just going to stop there for now. Then I'm going to also do that with 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Now I see a couple multiples that are the same. I'm going to do my smallest one though. That just makes it simplified and nice and easy. So I'm looking here and I see 10s for both of them. So hopefully you found the same thing. If you have a bigger multiple, that's still correct, but it's just good practice to stick with the smaller numbers if you can. So looking here, I have my 7/10, and that just stays nice and easy. It stays the same because I didn't have to multiply it really by anything other than 1 to get that. But looking here, my 1/5, well, I know that 5 times 2 equals 10, so really I had to multiply both by 2 to get a common denominator here. So really what that means is I had to multiply 5 times 2 to get 10, and I also have to multiply the top. So if I do that, it's really then 2/10 instead of 1/5. And hopefully that's something you were noticing as well. So now, if you remember from 4th grade, you now have common denominators and you can just add that. So 7/10 plus 2/10 would equal 9/10. So compare that to what you did and hopefully you have something similar.
And then you will be doing numbers 6 and 7 on your own. So you can show your work in here. And then there's one last one that we want to go through with you, which is subtracting. And we're not doing a whole separate video for subtracting because it's really the same exact strategies. You're just, instead of adding them together, you're taking them away. So we'll do number 4 with you, and then we'll have you do a couple on your own. So number 4, again, 2 and 5, these do not have a common denominator. However, if I list my multiples out, so for 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and once you know your math facts, you might not have to list out the multiples. You can probably figure out them in your head. Listing my 5s, 5, 10, and I'm going to stop there because I already realized 10 and 10. So I'm going to have to do something to both numbers here. So to turn the 2 into a 10, to get it to the common denominator of 10, I have to multiply it by 5, which means I have to do the same to the numerator. So I'm going to rewrite over here. This becomes 5/10 minus, because I'm working on subtraction now. 5 to turn into 10, I multiply by 2. Do the same to the numerator. 2/10. Now it's as simple as just solving across. So 5/10 minus 2/10 is 3/10. And that should be your answer. So again, same plan you use for addition, only now you're using subtraction. Then you're going to do 5 and 6 on your own.
And then one other thing that we just want you to really help you think about more is a guiding question. We're going to show that to you, and you can have this just right at the bottom of your page if you have room for that. The guiding question is, what is wrong with this equation? We have 1/2 plus 2/6 equals 3/8, and we really want you just to think about that and take the time to explain it in complete sentences so it really makes sense to you and whoever is reading your answer.
And then we'll go over these in class.